Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got a full review of the 2020 Subaru Forester. This is the limited trim, and most importantly, it's packing the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated flat 4 motor, as opposed to the 2.4 liter turbo, which we've seen in all the Subarus we've reviewed so far. That means when you pair it up with the continuously variable transmission that's been going in just about every Subaru these days, it's really not too bad. It's a good daily driver, and I'm going to show you why. First of all, the usability of this car is fantastic. We're talking 55 profile tires. I think specifically these are 225 55 R18s. They look good, they're functional, they take the bumps really, really well. We've also got a good amount of usable ground clearance and approach angle, which we'll show you a little bit when we take this on some light off-roading. But even getting around town, going through snow if you lived somewhere like that, dirt roads, it's very capable in that regard without having to give you a whole macho, look at me, I'm overly qualified for this street and mall sort of demeanor. You've got this plastic cladding that keeps away some of the damage on the metal. Popping open the rear here, powered liftgate, but it is quite quick, so that's nice. Good amount of space. You're given this hardy, rugged, rubberized mat that you can just yank right out and spray off. Underneath, you got nice carpeting, a little storage compartment for jumper cables or blankets or anything you want to keep in your car regularly, and underneath, a compact spare. So it's better than nothing, but it's not something that you can just replace and keep going on. You will have to drive carefully and straight to a tire repair shop. Back here, you got all sorts of goodies going on. You got 12-volt power outlet, some grocery bag holders, as well as real metal tie-downs. I know Brian over at Regular Car Reviews has a Forester for his camera car because he can mount his tripod right back here using the metal tie-downs and film out of the back, so that's a use. Also got more grocery hooks here and a big ol' subwoofer for the 576-watt 9-speaker Harman Kardon audio system, of which we have an independent review on, so check the link in the description if that's your thing. Other than that, you got this little privacy thing that can go up right here. Keep people from peering in and seeing what you got in your trunk. Easy to take out as well. You just kind of go like that, and then it's gone, and then to put it back in, quick and done. The weird thing is that it has this little side, or like back mount thing that you have to add to as well. So that's something. Let's go around and fold the seats, which is incredibly easy to do in the Forester. Just pull this, down it goes. Let's reach over, do that for these seats. There we go. Adjust the passenger seat, unfortunately. At the end of the day, this is a compact crossover, even though it's on the larger side for that class. So you're dealing with some compacty sort of deal. Let's drop this out real quick and do the lie-down test. If you were going to camp in a Forester or just spend the night, you do have this nice flap that protects that little gap and gives you a relatively flat load surface. I'm 5'10", and if I were to lay flat, my feet are hanging out the back when I'm on the edge of the seat here. But I could turn sideways, and I could survive a night in here, but it's definitely not giving you the level of space of an Outback or more of a mid-size crossover. Still, quite easy to do. A little bit of headroom to sit up in. Not so bad. Obviously, these Foresters don't have the same wagony sort of look, like lifted wagon of Foresters back in the mid-2000s, kind of the first and second generation, but it's still a pretty usable shape. Power that down. Go ahead and put these seats up. Very easy to do. Not much lift required. Put this up as well. Getting in the back seat. Plenty of legroom. Really remarkable how much space there is back here. Like I said, I'm 5'10", got plenty of knee room. Also a lot of headroom in this cabin. So that's nice to see. Got a little center flip-down armrest with some grippy cup holders. I don't think this is actually removable to clean these, but it's nice that they're not a hard plastic. And then this is kind of interesting. I haven't seen this before. 3-stage mat pockets here. So you got one big one in the back and then 2 smaller ones. It's kind of cool. You can section things off. This is actually one pocket just kind of divided at the top, so you can see I can kind of reach my finger through, so they won't be divided all the way down, but interesting way to do that. The seats, do not recline, so this is the one spot they're set at, and there's some recline to it. It's pretty comfortable. I could be back here for many hours for sure, but it's not like some of the competition where you can recline the rear seats. You're also given two 2.1 amp USB-A ports back here, and you can see where on a higher trim you would have heated seats. Plenty comfortable back here. Heading on up to the front. I will say one kind of minor annoyance that might bug some people a lot more. There's kind of a dissatisfying hollowness feeling to the doors. You don't really get it when you close. That's pretty solid, but the handle just kind of has a tinny feel, and I know that's big for some people. Up in the front, I should kind of start this here so I can straighten out the wheel. Also get some air conditioning going. It's getting toasty today. I really like all the materials Subaru's gone with. It's got a nice flowing look to the cabin. Everything's just kind of a simple grayish black with some white stitching. Everything's very durable feeling. Feels like it's going to last a lot. It doesn't exactly feel luxurious, but it feels quality. I like all the switchware. Very easy to use. Even it's a little bit information overload. It took me a while to figure out just how to switch screens up there, and I've been in Subarus not too long ago, and I just forgot that it's this info button that changes what's going on up there, and then these two buttons change what's going on the center display. And then this button only works sometimes. I haven't exactly, I don't know. You'd almost need kind of a full pull and hold iSet switch for menu. Okay, so you can go through different settings here, I guess. Vehicle settings. Yeah, wow, it's a pretty intense system. You definitely need to go through the manual or have somebody in the know kind of show you how to use the system. But overall, not too bad, and very, like I said, very nice to touch switchware and materials. Center console, little complaint of mine. This has to be pulled out to get into the large hole down in there. So anytime if you're driving along, if you need to reach in and grab something, you gotta yank that out and put it somewhere. But it is a nice little tray there. This comes out to allow for more space in the cup holder area, and you can also remove this bottom grippy section in order to clean it out. So that's nice to see. Little grippy segment down there. Somewhere down here, maybe in a higher model you might have wireless device charging, but it's just another place to put things. And a pretty standard fare glove box. Inside the glove box we see our window sticker, which I'll put up here. As I said, this is a limited model. Great crash test ratings, great fuel economy. We did a highway real-world fuel economy test in this Forester. If you want to see the results of that, hit the link in the description. Definitely met its highway number, though. All in all, we're talking $33,800 after destination for this Subaru. Really quite good for an all-wheel drive, large, capable vehicle like this. You've even got heated steering wheel, reverse automatic braking, a great audio system, one of the best audio systems I've seen for this price. Navigation, good looks. I mean, it's really a comprehensive package. Let's get out on the road and talk about some of its features. Big old shifter down there. Before we get going, I want to demonstrate the reverse automatic braking and why it's so valuable in a car like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to back into these trees here. And the car, as I get close to the trees and don't press the brakes, is going to slam on the brakes for me. Now, full disclosure, I've done this test earlier. You might have seen it in our live drive in a different parking lot, but I've never done it here in kind of this warehouse lot that I've been using recently. So this is a live test, if you will. We're just going to back up, not press the brakes, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to go into the trees. Look at that. So the car slammed on the brakes, full ABS, full lockup, in order to stop me as quick as possible. I didn't press the brakes. Get out. Look at that. Didn't even touch these trees back here. A little bit on the side, but if that was a person, a child, an animal, a bicycle, a curb, a large enough curb I should say, another vehicle, it would have been spared. Pretty darn valuable. And I'm gonna be honest, if I'm buying a family vehicle here in 2020, that's something I'm looking for. And the fact that the Legacy can give it to you for $34,000 is quite good. So we got a little bit interrupted there, chatting with that guy, but we're back on the road here to see how the Subi handles the road. In fact, we're not even going to start off with the road because our favorite little mini off-road course is right here. So hey, we're in a Subaru, why not? Like we said earlier, the Forester has a good amount of ground clearance, good amount of approach angle, and all-wheel drive, so why not toss it through some mud? We can even use the X mode down here and turn it into deep snow or mud. Looks like we got traction control off, probably allows for a little bit of slip. And away we go. Spoiler alert though, we really don't need it for these kind of puddles. So even though they are a little deep, Subaru has no problem. 4! We even got some sandy mud-ish type pit right here. Forester will handle it with ease. Then you can just press it down for normal mode. See, what I think is even more valuable than being able to crawl through mud like that is to go down a 2-track like this at whatever speed you want and have a good amount of bump dampening, enough ground clearance to know that you're not going to damage anything either underneath the car or at the front of the car. 25 miles an hour just cuts on through. If you had a cabin or even just lived on a driveway or a road that is a little bit 2-track-ish or just kind of a rough dirt road, Forester is a great choice for that. Now you do have 2 drive modes, if you will, in the Subaru. They're not super explicit, but down here you can press I or S. Now if you press S for SI drive, then you get a little bit more immediate throttle response, so it kind of comes on strong and then levels out as it shows you on the gauge. If you press this one, it's more of a progressive, even, softer throttle application. And I kind of prefer the softer one. Just a little softer. I keep saying that. When you get on the throttle, get up to speed, very easy and progressive. If you use S mode, it tries to make the car feel a little bit sportier, but what it actually does is just make it feel jumpier. And yeah, to the untrained individual, you might think, ooh, car's faster, more powerful, but no, it's not. It's just giving you more gas a little quicker. What you really ought to do is, if you need more power, just put more foot in the throttle. Now this engine is by no means fast. I will not tell you that it is, but it's smooth, and I appreciate that, because in a big car like this, even a compact crossover, it's not a car I want to go fast in. I mean, Mazda's 250 horse inline 4 is cool and all, but you don't really need that power on a day-to-day basis. If I want to go fast, I'll go out on my motorcycle or a sports car, have a second vehicle, something like that. So this is full throttle, and that's fine. It's totally perfect and usable for day-to-day driving. Engine quiets right down, and you don't have any of that sort of surginess and then release that you do with the turbocharged motor with the same transmission. Let's do a 6-0 braking test. Not bad, and then full throttle, let's turn the AC off. Now, interestingly, if we do that same test, but we do L mode on the shifter, and we'll go into S mode just for kicks and giggles, you'll notice the transmission won't fake shift. It'll just hold it at its best RPM for speed and accelerate. So that's more what a true CVT should be doing. But Subaru puts those simulated shifts in there because people say they like shifts, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll put in shifts, but whatever. Just give me, that does sound obnoxious, but it's technically faster, so that's what the transmission should do. Let CVTs be CVTs. Get on up to highway speed here. Set the cruise for 70. This is a bit of a loud section of concrete highway, but still give you an idea of how the car sounds. Overall, not too bad for the class. Not the quietest, but certainly passable. Now, the Forester does have a semi-autonomous driving feature, sort of a lane hold here, but it doesn't work super well. So let's see if it picks up on these lines. It's still white, still great. There we go, green. So now it's doing some steering for me, but it doesn't inspire a bunch of confidence, and it does give up the ghost quite easily. Just realized my mirror over there is pushed in from our off-road section. So while I did use the steering mode sometimes on my highway fuel economy test, I mostly just left it off. But the adaptive cruise works pretty well. I will say, if anything is blocking these two cameras up here, the Subaru EyeSight cameras, no cruise control will work. I was not able to find a way to use non-adaptive cruise control, so that's a bit frustrating, because there are times where adaptive cruise is not the best to use. One of my favorite things about the Subaru is actually the infotainment system, which is funny because it's one of my least favorite things about the Outback and the Legacy. But here in the Forester with this smaller screen, it works really, really well. And it's a shame that Subaru thought the big screen was the way to go. This screen, you tap the home button, you write home real quick. Response times are good. The map looks really great. You can pinch to zoom, you can tap to zoom. It's very fluid, looks good. Media, radio, there's all sorts of inputs. Even got a CD player and an auxiliary jack in here. If you guys want to see full coverage on that, hit the link in the description. But it's definitely a go for me. I also really appreciate that all the HVAC controls are down here with physical controls, physical buttons, switches, everything. With the big screen in the other Subarus, you get touchscreen controls, and they don't work well. They're laggy, and you have to wait and stop what you're doing in here to go change your climate settings. This is so much easier, and they're big, nice to use knobs as well. You got your heated seat controls, no big surprise. The steering is a very nice weight, it's just good for daily driving. So if you guys have seen any of my reviews on Subarus before, you know I've kind of tore them apart. So I hope it's refreshing to you that getting a different example of the car here with just a different setup, different engine, a little bit different infotainment, fixing those main complaints I had about the last Subarus, make for a car that I really, really enjoy driving. It's not a perfect car, but for $33,000, I could really see me suggesting this car to people, or even considering it for myself if I were in the market. A week ago, I would have told you CX-5 all the way, but I do think there are ways that the Forester shines above the CX-5. Those ways are usability, kind of the ruggedness, functionality, fuel economy. We did get better mileage with this motor, although we don't know what the CX-5 without the turbo would do on our highway fuel economy test. I do have to say the infotainment system's much better on the Forester here. And the sound system is a little better. Not even a little better, it's decently better. So you got extra safety, you've got some extra functionality, extra usability, and some better ease of use. Plus, it's a little bit larger than the CX-5. Definitely doesn't look quite as good. I think the styling's a bit uninspired. Look at that. That's awesome. Maybe I'll just leave it that way for Chris. But I suppose if you got it in a little more interesting color, then that would be a little bit more exciting. I do think the sport model is a little goofy looking, but some people kind of like those extra sporty accents that they put on there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my coverage of the Subaru Forester here with its 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and check out some of our other coverage on the Subaru, all the Subies and the others. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.